Have you ever experienced that peculiar sensation where, regardless of what you express or do, a narcissistic individual consistently manages to turn your own feelings against you? They possess this ability to make you feel incorrect, insignificant, guilty, even when you were simply being authentic to yourself. But now, picture a different scenario. They attempt to provoke you, seeking your emotional response, desiring your pain, yet you remain unmoved. You meet their gaze directly, composed, powerful, clear-minded. For the first time, they are the ones losing their composure. What you are about to uncover is not mysticism, nor is it manipulation. It represents genuine psychological power rooted in principles that Sigmund Freud recognized over a century ago. The narcissistic personality cannot tolerate losing dominance over those who provide them attention. When they lose you, they lose everything. Throughout this presentation, you will discover 9 devastating psychological techniques inspired by the deepest foundations of human psychology. Each approach functions as a silent explosive directed at the narcissist's ego. Every method will return a piece of your freedom to you. These are not theoretical concepts read from textbooks. They are real instruments, tested by individuals who endured years under invisible manipulation and emerged stronger, more lucid, more respected. However, I must warn you that these techniques will permanently alter how you form relationships. The narcissist will no longer perceive you as prey. They will fear you, respect you, and fear you even more because they will no longer maintain control. Share in the comments if you have also experienced this type of relationship. Your experience could help others break free from this cycle. Are you ready to begin? The first approach involves silence, the most unexpected weapon. The narcissist speaks, accuses you, provokes you, insults you, sometimes quietly, other times in front of everyone. They expect only one thing from you, a reaction. They want you to become angry, to justify yourself, to cry. Every emotion you display becomes pure nourishment for their ego. It serves as their substance, and each time you provide it, you grant them power. But what occurs when they receive nothing? Zero emotion, zero words, only your gaze, calm, neutral, unshakable. Freud observed in his research that the narcissist maintains a fragile identity sustained only through control over others. When this control ceases, the effect proves devastating. Silence in that moment is not an escape. It represents a silent psychological declaration that screams, "You no longer hold power over me." Envision this scene. The narcissist delivers their usual poisonous comment, and you simply breathe deeply. Look them in the eyes and remain silent. No explanation, no defense, no justification. Only presence, only inner strength. Initially, they will persist, become more aggressive, study you, attempt to strike deeper. But then something shifts. Their confidence crumbles. They no longer know where to attack because they cannot read you. It is as if you have suddenly become impenetrable. This represents one of those moments when the narcissist begins to perceive your real strength. Not because you shout, but because you are there, present, untouchable. Each time you choose silence, you break the invisible chain, and they feel it powerfully, intensely. The second strategy involves the lethal phrase, "This no longer works for me." The narcissist has grown accustomed to having power over you. They know you will persist, that you will try to explain yourself, that you will do everything possible to make them see reason. But when you stop justifying yourself, something inside them breaks. There exists a phrase that Freud described as a genuine shock to the manipulator's mind. A phrase that, when spoken with calm and firmness, destroys the narcissist's psychological script. That phrase is, "This no longer works for me." No screaming, no drama, only truth, only boundaries. For years, the narcissist has relied on your predictability, that you would bend, that you would explain, that you would apologize for being yourself. But when you suddenly change the script, they malfunction. This phrase communicates 3 things that are lethal to their ego. You have seen their game, you no longer accept it, and you do not need their approval. and this devastates them. Imagine a discussion where instead of losing control, you raise your gaze and say, "This no longer works for me," and then you stand up, walk away, leaving them there with their reactions. What follows is a mixture of rage, confusion, and fear, because they have lost their advantage. You are no longer requesting their consent. You are establishing a limit. Each time you speak those words, you are reclaiming your mental and emotional space. It is like saying, "From now on, I play by my rules," and you are no longer the referee. The third strategy is strategic indifference, the void that destroys them. The opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. The narcissist lives to generate reactions, positive or negative. It does not matter. What matters is that you are watching them, thinking about them, reacting to them. When you stop doing this, their entire psychological framework collapses. Strategic indifference is not coldness, not revenge. It is the conscious decision to no longer be emotionally involved in their games. Freud spoke of a fundamental concept. The narcissist constructs their identity through the gaze of another. You are that gaze, and by removing it, you remove everything. How does this apply? When you receive a provocative message, you do not respond. When they create a scene, you do not react. When they ignore you, you do not lower yourself to seek attention. If you previously feared silence, now it becomes your weapon. The narcissist will begin to feel invisible, and for them, being invisible equals non-existence. Tell me if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever stopped responding to a narcissist and witnessed how they reacted? Write it in the comments because these moments are often revealing. Being indifferent does not mean being cold. It means being free. Free from the need for approval, free from drama, free from control. Indifference is not disinterest. It is awareness that your energy is too precious to be wasted. And do you know what happens when the narcissist understands this? They look at you with new eyes because they can no longer read you, and in that emptiness, they begin to fear you. The fourth strategy is psychological mirroring, using their weapon against them. The narcissist is a master at imitation. They adapt their behavior to seduce you, manipulate you, enter your mind. But there is something they never expect, that you begin to do the same. Psychological mirroring is simple, but incredibly powerful. It consists of subtly imitating their tone of voice, pauses, even certain expressions, but without ever losing control. Why does this work? Because it challenges their superiority. Freud noted that the narcissist perceives themselves as irreplaceable, special, dominant. When they feel copied, they feel threatened, as if you have cracked their code. Here is an example. They interrupt you abruptly to diminish you. You do the same thing, but calmly. They ignore you to punish you. You stop seeking them and smile anyway. Mirroring creates dissonance. It shows them that they no longer have unilateral control, and they begin to doubt their own power. Be careful. This is not about becoming like them. It is about using the mirror as a temporary psychological lever to free yourself from their spell. And each time you do it, it will be like telling them, "I see you, I understand you, and now I decide how to play." The fifth strategy is temporary disappearance, the no contact that shocks them. Do you really want to destabilize a narcissist? Disappear, just like that, without warning, without explanations, without reaction. The narcissist counts on your constant presence, even if negative. They count on you to feel alive, important, dominant. When you suddenly vanish from their radar, their ego suffers a devastating blow. They wonder, where are you? Who are you with? Why are you not reacting? And most importantly, why am I no longer controlling your reality? Freud spoke of the power of absence as a tool for reactivating the unconscious. When something that should be there is no longer present, the unconscious obsessively searches for it. This is what happens to the narcissist. They begin to pursue, to spy, to search for a new lever to regain control. But you are not there. You have chosen active silence. No contact is not flight. It is a clear message. You are no longer the center of my attention, and this makes you powerless. Each day of silence is a blade that cuts emotional dependence, and each absence, when used strategically, strengthens your freedom. Disappear and let them chase your shadow. The sixth strategy is psychological self-assertion, the calm power of saying no. The narcissist plays on one thing: your insecurity. The more you doubt yourself, the more margin you give them to command. But when you learn to say what you think, what you want, and what you do not accept without justifying yourself, everything changes. Self-assertion is not aggression. It is clarity. It is looking them in the eyes and saying with a calm and steady voice, "No, this does not suit me." You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to explain, convince, or defend yourself. The simpler you are, the more powerful you become. Freud maintained that a strong self does not need to dominate, but to be consistent with itself. And this is precisely what disarms the narcissist, a person who does not seek their consent. When you assert yourself, you not only break the toxic dynamic, but force the narcissist to deal with an individual they cannot bend. Start with small things. You no longer accept the passive-aggressive tone. You do not change your plans just to please them. You do not smile when you are hurt. Self-assertion is freedom that emerges from voice, and your voice, spoken with calm and determination, can become the wave that breaks their empire of control. The seventh strategy is sharp humor, the laughter that destroys control. The narcissist takes themselves very seriously. Their image is sacred, their control is law, but there is one thing they cannot manage: humor. Laughing at the right moment is like inserting a needle into their ego. It destabilizes them, makes them ridiculous, deflates them. This is not about offending, it is about breaking their spell with lightness. Imagine a typical provocation, perhaps a veiled criticism, and you respond with an ironic smile. Wow, you are in great form today with compliments. Their mind jams. They do not know if you are playing, defending yourself, or dominating. Freud spoke of humor as the ultimate form of mental freedom. When you laugh, you show that you are not afraid, that you have understood the game, and that it no longer affects you. Humor is disarming, and it is precisely there that the narcissist loses power, when they can no longer strike you because you are smiling. The eighth strategy is role reversal. Observe them as they observe you. The narcissist loves to analyze you. They scrutinize you, test you, study every reaction. But do you know what drives them out of control? Being observed. When you begin to treat them as they treat you, when you observe them in silence, analyze them, and perhaps ask with a neutral tone, "Interesting. Why do you say this?" Oh, you need to always be right. You remove their power because you reverse their position. They are no longer the hunter. They are the target. Freud said that consciousness emerges from the gaze of another, and you are now that gaze. This technique is powerful because it does not attack, but reverses. It forces them to mirror themselves, to feel exposed. Do not shout. Do not defend yourself. Observe. Ask questions. Expose them calmly. When the narcissist feels red, they begin to doubt themselves, and you have just flipped the game. The ninth strategy is final silence, the end of the game. There are moments when speaking no longer serves any purpose. Explaining, defending yourself, hoping, everything becomes superfluous. This is the moment of final silence. It is not just a technique. It is a decision, a profound declaration that says, "You have had space, energy, words. Now enough." When you disappear definitively, not for revenge, but out of respect for yourself, the narcissist enters crisis. Freud affirmed that absence is more eloquent than presence, and your total silence, without explanations, is like an ending that leaves no grip. No drama, only distance, only peace. The narcissist will seek a reaction, but they will no longer find it because you have exited the game, and in that moment, you finally become untouchable. You have just discovered 9 psychological strategies capable of completely reversing the dynamic with a narcissist. You do not need screaming. You do not need to fight with the same weapons. You need emotional intelligence, awareness, and presence. Freud taught us that the narcissist's power is not innate. It is granted, and when you stop granting it, it collapses. You have learned to use silence as a weapon, to say no with firmness, to disappear without guilt, to mirror them, to laugh in their face, to set limits, to reverse their game. Now the question is, how willing are you to protect your energy from those who only want to use it? Every strategy you have heard today is a step toward your mental freedom, toward a life where you no longer have to beg for respect because you demand it with your mere presence. If you too have lived a toxic relationship with a narcissist, write about it in the comments. Your story could be the first step in freeing someone else. And if this content has given you real tools, support this channel and stay tuned for more practical and powerful psychological content, because from today, you no longer ask for respect, you command it.